from the same collection as this piece was. It's from Hampton, made up to 1905, and the name of it is A Poetess in Spring.
Jerry Freelands felt that the day was not suitably ended if, after practicing oft in the stilly night upon his fiddle, he did not go across the field to Marietta Martin's. Now the two lived, each alone, in a stretch of meadowland just off the main road. Nobody knew how many evenings they spent together at this middle stage of their lives. As a youth, Jerry had been solitary, given to wandering, thinking about poetry and his fiddle. Well, Marietta, even then, she had been learning tailoring to support her mother, and she looked upon Jerry with unstinted admiration. Jerry carried on the little farm. He nursed his mother until her death, but he knew that all this tribute to the lower life, it was merely something mysteriously decreed to ballast the soul, lest it soar too high. The real things he knew were fiddle playing, writing poetry, and getting it published in the county paper. Jerry had one consolation besides and above Marietta, and this was the poetess Ruth Belair. It was of her he was thinking as he crossed the field that darkening twilight to Marietta's house. Marietta lived in a little gamble roof house. Tonight she saw Jerry coming, and she met him at the door. Marietta, guess who's coming? Ruth Belair!
Oh, not here.
Well, no, she's at Poplar Bridge. The paper said so tonight.
What's he doing there?
She's come to board. The paper said so. Look. The well-known poetess Ruth Belair has arrived to spend the summer at the boarding house of L.H. Moody.
I can hardly believe it.
Oh, Marietta, do you suppose there has been an evening I've sat here? I haven't either read you some of her pieces or told you something I've seen about her in the papers.
No, you haven't talked about anything else, scarcely.
She's been a great influence in my life.
I suppose she's influenced a great many folks.
It's my chance. She's here within 10 miles of us. Come what may, I'm bound to see her.
Well, how you gonna do that, Jerry? I mean, you don't know her or her family. Seems she'd think it was awful weird.
No, she's used to it. She must be. People with gifts like that. Oh, of course folks go to see them.
Jerry was silent and remote after this. He had little to say about Marietta's late blooming callus, which had held her in suspense all winter, but were beginning to unroll their austere beauty now that spring had arrived.
Marietta, what if I should bring her these callus?
My callus? Oh, when are you going?
I'm thinking of going tomorrow.
Well, you may have my lilies and welcome, Jerry.
Marietta, you're real good. So I'll stop by tomorrow and get her.
What time?
Oh, about 10 o'clock? Good night.
Good night, Jerry. Marietta's lilies were not just lilies to her. They were a train of bright imagining. They were white as snow, as beautiful as princesses. Marietta knew that it was appropriate that Jerry should take her lilies to Ruth Belair. Well, he would know wonderful things, and she would too, to say about them. It was amazing to be gifted, well, like Jerry and Miss Belair, and oh, very stupid and dull as she was.
Jerry hardly slept at all. I mean, he was in no habit of remembering how old he was and tonight age seemed infinitely removed, for he was thinking about poetry and about Ruth Belair. She'd always been what he called his guiding star. Ruth Belair had always seemed so far above him, for although he wrote verse, accepted by the county paper in prodigious quantities, she wrote poems of a sort that appeared in loftier journals. She had written The Hole in the Baby's Shoe. Mothers had cut it out and pinned it to the curtain. Children had spoken it on last day, to the accompaniment of tears by assembled parents. I'll tell you just how she would look. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, it was about 10 o'clock the next morning when Jerry stopped at Marietta's gate with the light wagon and the sober white horse. And Marietta was ready at the door.
I was watching for you, and as soon as you came around the corner, I snipped them off. Neither did y'all.
I'm real obliged, Marietta. This will mean a good deal to me.
Oh, but I go as far as Ferdy Woods with you.
Well, so do, Marietta, so do. He urged her to get ready, so she ran inside, and then she came out carrying a basket with a cover, which she set in the back of the wagon, together with the lilies.
Now, Ferdy Woods, that's about a mile this side of Moody's boarding house, so I'll wait here while you go and make your call.
Whew. It seems pretty mean not to take you with me.
Oh, I wouldn't go for anything. Oh, you've been planning it for so long, looking forward to it. I don't care much. Truly, I don't. So never mind.
You know, it seems to me I should know her the minute I put eyes on her.
Oh, I should think you will. She's probably the only guest they've got this time of year.
What's that what I mean? I mean, it seems like I knew exactly how she ought to look.
Well, how's that, Jerry?
Well, I guess she'd be fair complexion. And I guess she wouldn't weigh very heavy. Somehow you just can't see somebody who has had thoughts like she's had, being thick-framed or heavy, can you? I can't anyways.
Marietta looked down at her own plump hands. No, I suppose not. Oh, Jerry, look at that tree over there. I always call that Mother's tree. You see, one day late in May, Mother and I would come up here, and that tree was all in bloom. And Mother, she had a pretty way of putting it. She said, some trees are all over pink, but this one's a bride tree, as white as snow. Well, the winter Mother died, I come up here, and it had snowed the night before, and that tree was glistening in the sun, and I said, Mother's tree. That's what I said. I said it right out.
Yeah. You never mentioned that before. Boy, anybody could almost write something on that.
Oh, could you, Jerry? I wish you would.
Marietta, do you think much about getting old?
Oh, no. Well, that'd be awful foolish.
But you don't feel like you did 15 years ago, do you?
Oh, no, it wouldn't be natural if I did. Oh, you take that apple tree over there. I don't think it feels the same today as it did the day it sprung up. You see, we're all in a procession. We're all marching along to, well, I don't know where exactly, but it'll be all right.
You seem to have a good deal of faith, Marietta.
Oh.
Even if you ain't such a hand to talk about it.
Well, you can't tell me things won't be all right. I know.
How do you know?
Well, the sky is so pretty for one thing. And then there's the robins, and days like today, I feel like I'm sitting right inside the pearly gates. Truly, I do.
I guess the way the spot round here means more to folks in our neighborhood than this. Do you remember my poem about the awesome amphitheater nature wrought?
Oh, yes. Well, I think it's just the most beautiful place in the world. more natural.
They both had a vision of the poet, going on foot to the lady of his dreams, holding the lilies in his hand. And Jerry, he was racing ahead in his eager mind to that farm where Ruth Belair stood waiting at the gate. Of course, she wasn't waiting because she didn't know he was coming. All right, even though he lived at all, it seemed appropriate to him that she should be standing, a girlish figure at the gate, waiting to let him in. And after that, they walked up the path together, she holding the lily. Bye!
Goodbye, Jerry, goodbye. Marietta sat down among the pine needles to look up to the boughs of the sky and to think and to think. But perhaps it was not really thinking, for it followed no road. Marietta felt happy. Her early life had not been easy. It had been full of poverty and fear, and then her later life, well, that had been lived on one monotonous level, satisfying their needs with nothing left for luxury. But there was always an inner voice that told her to take hope. And when the spring came, she just gave herself up to the gladness of it. Marietta knew that it was a precious privilege to know a poet, to see the world through his eyes. Ruth Belair, waiting unconsciously for Jerry to seek her out, was, Marietta knew, the happiest woman in the world. When Jerry came back, he did not hoot as agreed upon. He came silently through the woods with halting steps, and Marietta's heart raced out to him. Jerry looked old. It was almost as if his father was advancing towards her out of the path where she and Jerry had been young together. Jerry was wrong. What happened?
Nothing's happened that I know of.
Oh, didn't you see her?
I saw her.
What was she doing?
Well, she was playing croquet in the front yard.
How'd she look?
She's got spectacles and she's pretty fleshy.
Was she nice to you?
Oh, yeah. She was nice. She made me play croquet.
You rest, Jerry. Jerry felt like a disconsolate boy while Marietta prepared luncheon, and then he ate and drank. Marietta tried to rouse him to the things he loved. Jerry, look through there. This time of spring, before the leaves come, it seems like the green springs up just like a fountain.
You have real pretty thoughts, Marietta.
Oh, well, if I do it because you put them there in the first place.
It seems like just a day since you and I were up here picnicking, huh?
When I look back at all the stitches I've sewn, it feels like it's enough to stretch from here to the state of Maine.
Marietta, the others are all married. They get children growing up. It just seems like we missed the best of it. I'm kind of woke up, Marietta. I worked terrible hard. I know I could make you have an easier time of it, though you mustn't lay it up against me.
Oh, lay what up against you?
Well, it's spring with these birches, but it ain't with us.
Oh, ain't you ever seen an apple tree bloom in the fall or a late rose? Well, I have. So
they drove home in their sober intimacy, she suddenly turned to him.
Jerry, when you was playing croquet with Miss Belair, who beat?
She did!